Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us today for another interesting session with one of our black belts from Uganda, Dorcus Magoba. Today, Dorcus is going to be talking about emotional well-being and mental health for teachers. Okay, but before we do that, I'd just like to read or tell you some interesting facts about Dorcus. Dorcus has been with me, with us, I'd like to say the foundation black belt when we first started in 2018. I remember she was part of the initial black belts. She works in HR and she has led many sessions before today's session. She is a graduate of Makerere.
Na room chukwudi. Takpa akpa nwere one. Nwa ji wetere m mmanya.
Please, can we mute our microphones? Can we please mute our microphones? I'm going to mute everyone anyway. Okay, I was talking about Dorcus. So I said she studied human resources management at Makerere University. At Valley College, Bushenyi, she studied history, economics, literature, and fine arts. She has a master's degree in literature, a BA education, literature and English, a master's degree in human resource management. She's got a transformational leadership certificate from Harvest Institute. She has worked as an administration manager at New Vision Printing and Publishing. She worked as a branch manager for the Ugandan Red Cross Society, and she's a training coordinator with 1 Million Teachers. Like I said, she has done a lot of trainings with 1 Million Teachers over the past few years. Today is not the first, nor will it be the last. So thank you, Dorcus, for all that you do for 1 Million Teachers. It's been a pleasure working with you. If you'd like to start, then we can get on with it. Unmute yourself, please, Dorcus. Unmute.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. I usually like to add that I'm a mother to 3 and a wife, so that people don't see my short hair and think I'm a young girl. No, I am very old, over 40 years old, and it has been a good opportunity being a teacher and a trainer in different spaces in the world. And of course, 1 Million Teachers has given me a great opportunity to face the global audience. So thank you, Hakim. Thank you, Fatma. Thank you, everyone behind this program. I guess people need to see what blessing we have for us to belong to a good family like 1 Million Teachers. So as I start, I guess I will not introduce myself. We have 1 hour, and I think I have a lot to cover, both from my experience as a teacher. So I taught, I was in school, I marked, I was teaching English, literature. So I've been in it. I understand what being a teacher means, but also I come from the side of being a personal development. Fatima, can you hear me? Someone is saying they can't hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you.
They need to
I can hear you clearly also.
Awesome. So I've been at it as a teacher, as a trainer, as a mother who has 3 kids and who are in school. So I get to interact with teachers from both a training perspective and also from what I receive when my children come back home every day. So, and then I think of late I've been obsessed with mental health, and why I need to close my WhatsApp to avoid distractions. Sorry. So I've been well, okay. I've been in a way obsessed with mental health because it's one of the areas that is ignored by many institutions. But then you cannot produce, you cannot do anything, you can not be productive when you have mental health issues. And of course, as we will see, mental health issues are caused by different things. So my introduction, we all know, we've had conversations on this platform about mental health, about emotional intelligence, about emotional well-being. So I am basically adding on to what other people have talked about emotional being. I'm hoping that by the end of this session, you will have some practical examples that practical interventions or strategies that you can take and implement, both as a teacher, as a parent, or as a mother, as a father, as a friend, because all of us have someone who has mental health issues, so that we are able to address this big monster that has come. And in our definition, of course, or in our understanding and introduction, Fatima, if you can go to the next slide, is that emotional well-being and mental health are crucial aspects of a teacher's overall health and effectiveness in the classroom. Teachers play a vital role in shaping the future by educating and nurturing our young children or young minds, but the demands of the profession can take a toll on their mental and emotional health. Now, our discussion is going to be about the importance of emotional well-being and mental health among teachers. And of course, we'll look at the challenges and we'll look at strategies to promote a positive and supportive environment. Now, we have to talk about mental health because as a teacher, one of the things that really I know from experiencing my life as a young girl through school, for me, teaching was not just a job. I looked at some teachers who did it for a job and they had results and they had impact on me and other students. And you have experienced different teachers. So you will find that when you approach teaching from just a career perspective, without passion, then you will most probably not have transformative results, which 1 million teachers is about. If we can go to the next slide. One of the things that I put a quote from one of the teachers here in Uganda, and she said that teaching is an art that requires the heart. But this heart that we carry every day has to be taken care of for us to make this teaching an art, for us to be creative, for us to think, for us to be compassionate, for us to be loving, for us to be kind. Our hearts have to be taken care of. As they usually say, we cannot serve from an empty cup. We must serve from a cup that is full, so that we are just serving from the overflow of our joy, of our creativity, of our love, of our kindness, of our patience, of all those things we have studied about in 1 Million Teachers program. So you have to be able to understand that it will require you paying attention to your heart, to your mental, to your emotions, for you to become that teacher that carries the heart in classroom, outside classroom, in community. I want us to look at the importance of emotional well-being and mental health. If we can go to the next slide, Fatima. I want us to look at the importance. Why is it important that you as a teacher, you have to be in a good state, mentally, physically, and in every way? A teacher's emotional well-being directly influences their teaching abilities, classroom management, and interactions with students. I want you to imagine a teacher who comes to school and was slapped or beaten badly by the husband, domestic violence. I just want you to imagine how that teacher will behave. As a wife, most times when I have a fight with, not most times, but sometimes when I have a fight with my husband, you will find that it just comes that you will, when a kid walks in and you've just had that fight, you will shout at the child. So if we are not taken care of, if our hearts are not taken care of, if our mental is not paid attention to, if we have so much that is bothering us, then we cannot expect that we'll come to classroom and set a very good environment for our learners. We will not manage well. Why? You will be emotional. As a teacher, you will throw tantrums around. As a teacher, you will not even have that patience to deal with learners who have issues where you find there are small issues, but you will look at them, they are too petty, and so you will tell yourself, I have so many other issues to deal with. Why is this one telling me? My child has this and this. Why is this one telling me? So you have, that might need my presentation back. So you have to be able to understand that mental health, if not your emotional well-being, if not taken care of, it will have an effect on your teaching abilities. It will have an effect. You will find you're dodging classes. You're not looking forward to your classroom. You're not looking forward to your students, your learners. And as a result, of course, it will show in performance. A teacher's emotional state affects their ability to build trusting relationships with students, thereby enhancing their learning experience. So you have to be in a good mentor for you to be able to build relationships with your students. Because if you're not mentally well, you will not have the patience, the kindness to have relationships where you try to understand your learners at an individual level. You will not have the patience. Teachers serve as role models, and their emotional well-being can influence students and understanding self-care and emotional regulation. So you are a role model. When they think about someone who they look up to, you're the first person. Why? You spend more time with those learners, the way you dress up. And I want to talk about dressing because when a teacher is not mentally okay, and you will agree with me or disagree with me, you will find that most times when you're stressed, you're not caring about your eating habits, you're not caring about your dress code, you're not polishing your shoes. So as a teacher, imagine entering a class and your shoes are dirty. You enter a class and your dresses are not ironed. You enter a class, your hair is not combed. Your beards are all over the place. So you will find that all this is being caused by the depression, the mental issues you're having, the challenges you're having at home. But also, if you appear and someone can easily say, you're always sad as a teacher, then these learners will actually never wish to be a teacher. Why? Because of how the teacher behaves. And yet your behavior is coming from somewhere. So since we understand the importance of emotional well-being and mental health, I want us to look at the challenges. And I know you know these challenges because you're the teachers. So I want all of you to post, even if it's one challenge that you believe the teachers face before I tell you what I have and explain some of the challenges that I've identified from the different spaces I've been in. So let's use the chat box and we can also engage. What are some of those challenges? You can unmute one person or raise your hand, and then we should be able to go through the challenges. Oh, toxic working environment, so much pressure from administration. Gitura is saying that there is too toxic environment, so much pressure from administration. There is lack of motivation. Of course, lack of motivation most times also comes from the fact that as teachers, we earn little, yet we do so much. We build the nation. And that's why it's very important to look at teaching not as a job, but as a service, because then it changes your mindset around teaching. As teachers, some challenges: financial challenges, toxic environment, student personalities. Yeah, some students can really be a pain, but yet as a teacher, we have a responsibility to try and understand. And I think, let me talk about students' personalities. One of the things we have to understand is that you will find that also you have students in your class that are dealing with a lot from their backgrounds. So if you as a teacher, you're not in a good place to be understanding, you will not even dig deeper to understand why your student behaves the way they do or does the things the way they do them. So it's very important for you to pay attention to your mental health. I have in a school where my kids go, one of the students was raped. I think she's now in grade 10, was raped during COVID. And that child, well, after giving birth, she had to go back to school. Now imagine dealing with this child, and you yourself, you have your own issues to deal with. So teachers, we are unique, but amidst all, we are expected to be perfect because we have to build from a perfect perspective. Lack of attention, overload of work. No one is willing to talk. You people, we are in this together. Anyone willing to talk? Yes, I know we are using the chat, but someone can actually share and discuss. Anyone? Anyone? I don't see hands. People don't consider subject to be relevant as other subjects and stop to take the subject, sometimes even leave exam. Wow, those ones need a beating. Yes, Prince Patrick, go ahead.
Well,
You have 1 minute to share.
For me, I feel that in the teachers' environment, one of the basic challenges is from administrators and the working environment. You see where teachers try to put in their best, but administrators still try to want to see that, yes, what you're doing is not even up to par. And you keep meeting the school standard and vision, but yet administrators feel that you're doing nothing. So this thing sometimes try to cause problem for teachers. To me, that's one of the major challenges I think teachers face.
Thank you, Prince Patrick. I think Jamila Idris Ivuti.
Yes,
Go
Jamila,
ahead.
go ahead. Jamila, are you talking to us?
You raised your hand, or is it a mistake? Jamila, did you raise your hand, or you don't realize you've raised your hand? I think we should move on. I don't think she can hear us.
Okay,
Anybody?
so I see lack of appreciation in the chat, and which is really motivation. So all those challenges that you have said. And let's go to the next slide, Fatma. So here are some of the challenges that I have identified that I want to share with you. And one of them is lack of support. So you have said it, like you are a teacher working hard with minimal pay, but then you don't have support from your family. You will find that some of us, yes, we went through school, then you have pressures of people telling you, why don't you leave teaching? Go to NGOs. Why are you still in teaching? But yet for you, you're teaching from a passion perspective. You're not just earning money. So you find your family is not supportive. Then I think, Fatma, I need to mute Jamila. Yeah, I think one of the lessons we need to hold one of these days is how to use Zoom. Then the other thing is, of course, administration. You've talked about administration. You find you're working so hard, but you don't have the support of administration. When they look at what you do, number one, they don't pay you on time. When they pay you, of course, little money. They don't value your time. And then you find simple things like you want permission to be away for a day. You're not supported. You're not given time off. Then, of course, colleagues. Now, with colleagues, this also comes with the working relationships at work. You find you have challenges with work. People are not working together. There are so many cliques at work. And of course, then we have parents of this generation. Parents who think that teachers, for them, they look at education of, I pay my money, so you're not allowed to touch the child, you're not allowed to discipline. When you discipline, we have a case in Uganda where a parent came and slapped a teacher in front of the students. Like, how do you do that? Now, when that happens to a teacher, it breaks them down. And then you need to be able to rebuild, and this is where administration needs to come in and set strategies to deal with some of these challenges that teachers deal with. The other issue is, of course, workload, which leads to burnout. When I was still teaching, one of the reasons I ran out of teaching secondary school, I was teaching in two schools because the money I was being paid was little. I don't know how much 200,000 Uganda shillings is in Nigerian or randis in francs. But I was earning 200,000 from one school and earning 250 from another school. But in all schools, I was teaching English from senior 1 to senior 4, and I was teaching literature paper 1 and paper 2 in both schools. So you would find I have to mark English books. Teachers who are here and teach English, we mark every day. You must give an activity every day. So that workload was so much. I would go home tired. And then tomorrow, I'm not looking forward to teaching again. And that explains why I ran away from teaching. Because at the end of the day, you're teaching, and now for us in our country, we have where they are saying that science teachers are paid more money than arts teachers. Like, what is that? Imagine an English teacher, say, and then you have a science teacher who teaches chemistry and never marks because they don't set daily exercises. But for me, I have to set daily exercises and mark. But then someone will come and say, we are paying science teachers more money than arts teachers. Because in education, everything is important. So the workload was too much that I burnt out. And because I burnt out, I was bored with teaching. And because I was bored with teaching, I ended up leaving teaching, which was my passion. And I am not saying that you leave. Maybe if I had gotten another employer, maybe if I had, but the pressure was too much that at that stage, when I had just finished university and I was teaching, I did not know exactly how to deal with that too much workload. Now, the other thing is lack of resources. I want you to imagine yourself, you as a teacher, you're going to school to teach these learners, but you have left your own child at home who was chased from school because of school fees. How would you handle that? Fatma, help me mute people who are misbehaving.
All right, Dorcus, I'm going to mute everyone and then you can unmute yourself. Okay, so let me do that. So you need to unmute yourself and talk.
Yes,
okay.
I have. Thank you,
good.
Fatma. So you have to look at the resources. Imagine that teacher who is busy teaching other children, but for him at home, the kids are at home. They were chased for school fees at home. That teacher will not be able to come and teach your learner from a heart. He will just teach from the head. And we all know that a heart contributes to how the learners will really understand and feel they need this important information you're giving them. So lack of resources is one of those challenges that teachers continue to face, and it's very important for us to figure out how can we address that. The other one is, of course, violence and trauma. People are going through a lot. We have people going through traumas of post-COVID. We have violence. Domestic violence has been on the rise. In the past, we used to think it's domestic violence for only women. No, now even men are beaten. I don't know if it happens in Nigeria, but men are beaten. I don't know if it happens in Rwanda. Men are beaten all over Africa. It used to be that women are beaten, but now domestic violence is a two-way thing. Then, of course, we have stress and anxiety resulting from all this, the demands of life, the responsibilities we carry, the lack of resources, the lack of support from our administrators who demand a lot, but also don't give us support. Then you have competition between teachers. One of the reasons I hated teaching, there is a teacher who came, she was traveling and she said, Dorcas, can you help me handle my class for just 2 lessons? I said, Kawa, I'll do it, perfect. So I went on, I did the session. So when the teacher came back, the students said, we no longer want our teacher, we want Madame Dorcas to teach us. Like that alone made me face hell, and I had to actually resign from that school. Why? Because now teachers ganged up on me, thinking that I had told learners not to say no to their teacher. But it wasn't. It's because I did it better than she was doing. So it was a matter of saying, okay, how did you do it? What is it? Can we learn from each other? Then, of course, there is poverty. Then we have emotional demands, which I've already talked about. Now, I don't know, Fatma, are you able to use your phone? I want you to Google something. Anyone able to use their phone?
Okay, let me, what if I do it from here? You want me to
From the
Google
computer?
this? Yes.
Yes, you can. I want you.
Can you see it?
No, I don't. Yes, I can't see, but I want to do a quick search.
It's on your screen. Can everyone see it?
No, we are still on my PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Let me stop this share and do another share because it's showing on my computer.
So I want you to put in.
Can you see it now?
Yeah. Is then that mine?
Can you see it?
Did you put in the link?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So
we can see it. We can see it. We can see it now.
Student commits suicide after being insulted by teacher.
That is for a student. I want you to put in teachers who have committed suicide in Uganda.
In Uganda. Okay, hold on 1 minute. Let me go to the PowerPoint.
Not the PowerPoint. Just go to your Google and put in teachers who have committed suicide in Uganda.
Oh, 1 minute.
Teachers who have committed suicide in Uganda. It's off. You have removed it.
I'm coming. I'm trying to. Clear that.
You're sharing the presentation.
I don't think I can do 2 things at the same time, Dorcas. I cannot open the Google and open the presentation simultaneously on my computer.
Okay, Now, I want after this session, everyone to go on Google and put in, or if you're on Google, anyone on Google, I want someone to see it from their end. Anyone who can access Google and type in teachers who have committed suicide in Uganda, and you tell us what you see.
Mr. Smart, co-host, can you do that?
Yes, ma. But I can't share now.
No, I don't want you to share. I want you to tell us what you're seeing. Like
Teachers
that.
committing suicide in Uganda.
Yes.
Teachers
Who
committing.
have committed suicide in Uganda.
Yes. I saw from Daily Monitor. This report is on 14th of November 2022. 3 Ntungamo teachers commit suicide in 2 weeks.
Read the next.
December 24, 2020, in Kampala, Uganda. Over 200,000 Uganda shillings. 65-year-old teacher commits suicide over death. Another one, August 2020, 20th August 2020, Kamuli primary teacher commits suicide over COVID death. I don't know if it's the same person.
Different person. Another one.
Yeah, 28th August again, teacher commits suicide over COVID-19 related death. It's the same.
Another one.
Another one is that of student.
So you can stop there, Smart. Thank you so much. So what am I trying to show you? That I know this is not just a Ugandan situation, where a teacher would commit suicide over a debt of 200,000 Uganda shillings. Now 200,000, that's less than $100. You people imagine a teacher failing to pay a debt of 200,000, and as a result, they resort to suicide. Those are mental health issues that are just manifesting. The cases of suicide are way too many for teachers. It has come because
sorry about that, Dorcus.
Okay. So you find that their teachers are experiencing things that can be sorted.
Oh, who is this person?
I mean, at less than $100, you can even borrow from a friend to pay that debt. You don't have to commit suicide. But this shows you the mental challenges that teachers harbor. And I think when I was reading about the causes of some of these suicides, one of the people said that there are numerous challenges that people face, that teachers face in the communities. But because these teachers normally associate and do not normally associate and talk about the issues, given their work schedules, it at times affects them. I want you to imagine if I'm an English teacher or a teacher of English, I am always at school. When I'm not at school, I am marking books. When I'm not marking books, I'm marking exams. So you find you do not have time for social friends. But yet, if I was talking about an issue, or I was able to address it with someone else, or share it with someone else, then I would actually get help from a friend instead of committing suicide. So we have to be able to understand that yes, challenges are there, but also there is a way these challenges can be sorted out. And how can we sort them out? Number one, as a teacher, you have to learn to set boundaries. What do I mean? Boundaries, emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, financial boundaries. For example, as a teacher, you must know that I can't get a loan that is going to really stress me. I'm just using that for financial examples. Because you earn little money, if you put pressure on the little money you earn, then you're likely to get depression because the bank will come after you. So you must set financial boundaries. You must set time boundaries of knowing that, yes, I have my students, I love them so much, I'm so passionate about them, but when I go home, I don't carry actually books to my house. I go home to rest. Why? Because you need to rest. You can't work and mark books or exams from 7 p.m. to midnight and expect to carry a smile at 7 a.m. in the morning. So you set boundaries of what is it I can do here, what is it I cannot do here, what is it I can do at this time, what is it I cannot do at this time. Once you do that, it will help you also find time to do what we call self-care in personal development. Because self-care is that, as I usually struggle with teachers, I tell them, you don't have to just be a teacher and all your friends are just teachers. Like, self-care includes having friends outside teaching. Self-care includes knowing that, I can also go to a gym. I can take a walk. I can run. I can do physical exercises. Self-care includes all those things, because without them, then you're likely to have challenges of breakdown. Now, the other thing that is killing us is that you find you have finished classes because teachers, most schools are not allowed to be on their phones when they're at school. So you have finished your classes, you're going home. Instead of going home and you rest, the whole time you'll be catching up on phone, you'll be WhatsApping. Now, ideally, those screens, they drain our eyes. So by morning, you'll be very tired, very fatigued, very stressed. Why? Because you spent the whole night on WhatsApp. So it's very important that you set those boundaries and you care for yourself. And of course, the schools, because I know some of you here maybe have schools or your administrators. You have to be able to encourage your teachers to understand the importance of self-care and also provide resources on relaxation, on mindfulness, on stress management. You can't just say self-care and you're doing nothing about it. The other thing is work-life balance. Promote strategies to manage workloads efficiently, such as time management and setting realistic expectations. Now, this is on both the administrators and you as an individual, that for you to manage your life, to have work-life balance, I need to be able to understand that, no, these expectations are way beyond. You cannot say every weekend you're going to do exams. Like, where are you doing that? If you're teaching well, you don't have to do weekly exams. So you will find that you just need to realign your thinking, your physical, your emotional, your mental, for you to be able to work, to have a work-life balance. But also, of course, it builds on self-care, knowing that and setting boundaries, knowing that when I go home, I've gone home. Therefore, work shouldn't be taken home. Is it easy? No. But I started practicing it. I never carry work at home. If I have any work, I will do it. Let me go home, do my personal things, do me, take care of me, take care of my family, catch up with my children, catch up with my husband. So that then you're able to have another line of thinking beyond your chemistry, beyond your biology, beyond your science or whatever. The other thing is, of course, peer support groups. Peer support groups, these can be built in schools. Now, we have left these things to Americans. Those are the ones that usually talk about peer support groups. No, but you can actually establish mentorship groups, or what they call buddy systems, where experienced teachers can provide guidance and emotional support to newer colleagues, and newer, older, or younger colleagues. Sometimes you find you have young women that are struggling with marriage issues in a school. And I can assure you, if my marriage is not working well, I will not come and I'm productive at school when I am thinking about a divorce. So you have to be able to set groups like Women Teachers Association, let me use that, where you have the older women or you set platforms where women can share things that concern them. Recently, we set up a group of ladies who work, and we were asking ourselves, what are some of the challenges we face as ladies, even in this working out self-care business? You find that when I'm in my periods, for example, I won't work, and that affects me because in that week, your emotions are up and running. So having a community where I can freely say some of these things, I can assure you I'll be able to address some of the challenges or my mental issue, my mental challenges. The other thing is that ensure easy access to counseling services, therapy services, mental health professionals, because at the end of the day, we all need help. There is one of the activities I usually do with people I mentor is telling your story. Like when we go back to where we have come from, there's some of the things that have left damage on our lives or in our hearts or in our minds that continue to affect us without knowing. So one of the things, let me give an example. If you as a teacher, you were raped as a girl, if you're a woman, as a young girl, you were raped. You will be in a community where you're teaching these learners, but you will actually hate the boys in your class. Why? Because you hate all men and you don't know why. You don't know why you hate men, but you just hate men. I use an example. I was raised by a stepmother who used to make me wash her menstruation things. And because of that, I hated women. So for me, in the class as a student, even as a teacher, I hated girls. Like I would never pay, like it took for me therapy and professional help for me to realize I hated girls because of my story. So I have had to learn to love girls. I never used to have girls in my network. So I would find it easy as a teacher to help the boys, but not the girls. I would never pay attention to girls coming from just my story. So one of the sessions I usually do with people I mentor is that we must tell that story. We must dig deep and figure out, why do you behave the way you do? Because when you understand where some behaviors, attitudes are coming from, then you're able to help your learners. But you will not be able to understand that if you don't have help, if you don't have therapy sessions, if you don't have professional help, if you don't have counseling services in your setting, if your school cannot set it up, then go out and look for help. The other thing is, of course, physical health. You've seen people say we do aerobics at school. If they don't do it, start it. Think about it. If you finish and say, guys, I am thinking we can do aerobics. Let me tell you, there is nothing that gives you like a new start, like working out. You wake up and walk. You wake up and do 5 kilometers. You do aerobics. I can assure you that thinking will be different. And the other thing is, of course, positive school environment, where you foster positive and inclusive school culture, where teachers feel valued and appreciated. One of the challenges we have highlighted, all of us, is that we are not appreciated as teachers, yet we put in so much. So we need to foster a culture of appreciation, but it can start from you, where you actually thank your head teacher, where you go and thank fellow teachers. So then you start building a culture of a positive school environment. The other one is professional development. Offer sessions or learn on emotional and mental health, learn about communication, equip teachers with strategies on how to deal with mental health, but also just getting new knowledge, it will make you a new person. Once you do those things, I can assure you, you will be thinking like you're something else because of what you will be experiencing. Now, I have given a slide on creating a positive, supportive school culture. So school leaders should prioritize teacher well-being and mental health leading by example. It starts with me, that, for example, I can give feedback without abusing. I've seen people who abuse their teachers. In my former school, we had a case where the director came and actually beat a teacher. Like, how do you do that? So as leaders, as teachers, we lead by examples. We need to create platforms for teachers to express their concerns, opinions, and share their experiences without fear of judgments. Do you have a suggestion box? Do you have meetings, regular meetings? How do teachers express their issues without being judged? Yeah. Conduct regular check-ins. Now, check-ins, number one, it's at an individual level that you will be able to check in with someone who will tell that, you know what, you're not okay. Or as an administrator, you should be able to check in with your staff and see, how are you? How is your marriage? How is your husband? Are the kids okay? You see, people, I think it's John Maxwell who says that you must be able to, people won't care what you do until you care about, I've forgotten, but I'll get the
About how they feel. It's Maya.
about how they feel. Thank you.
Children might forget what you teach, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Thank you. And that also is the same with the teachers. So as administrators, teachers won't care unless you make them feel nice, unless they have those unforgettable memories. So you have to be able to do that through the check-ins. I can assure you, for me, I tell people, anyone who will have my heart is that person who asks me, how is my son? How is Jezreel? I love Shaka so much. So anyone who asks me about my children, you have my attention 100%. So you have to be that, even if it's my boss, when he asks, how is Shaka? How is Jezreel? How is Ariela? There is a way it makes me feel, and it simply means that you care about me beyond giving you A's. You care about me beyond giving you star students. You care about me as your staff. You don't just care about the A's. And that will help teachers perform beyond the expectations. The other thing is that you need to educate the school community about mental health to reduce stigma and encourage open dialogue. I've met teachers that speak alone. You find a teacher on the compound speaking alone. Why? They are going through stuff, but no one is willing to approach them and say, let's talk. And then you need to be able to set flexible policies that accommodate teachers' well-being, such as flexible work hours, mental health days, but also the other thing I've seen in most education institutions. By the other thing I did tell you is that most of those suicides we've seen on Google in Uganda is that most of them are coming from private schools. Very few are from government schools. Why? Because government is a bit relaxed. But private, the pressure is too much. So private teachers, you have to be able to take care of you because the environment is already intense and it is intentional. You have to be intentional at making sure that you take care of yourself. I want to conclude so that I can get some feedback. Number one, let's go to the last slide, Fatima. Teachers who prioritize their mental health create classrooms where students can flourish both academically and emotionally. Teachers are like candles. They consume themselves to light the way of others. Don't forget to rekindle your own flame through the things we have talked about. Healthy eating, regular exercise, sports, do some yoga, do some meditation, do some mindfulness, go and visit a beach, go and eat a nice meal. You make the money, so go and eat a nice meal. Take care of you. You can't serve from an empty cup. You are the most important person in the picture. But also remember, the day you die, you will be replaced without remorse. So, my dear teachers, Mental health is very important. We have to be able to prioritize it. We have to be able to pay attention to it. We have to be able to love ourselves so much to the extent that we don't wait to run mad because we are marking books. Because without us being mentally and emotionally okay, then our learners cannot be okay. God bless you. Thank you for listening to me this evening. Fatma, over to you.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Dorcas. Thank you so much. We love you. That's really, really good because we do need to care about our mental health, not just our physical health, our mental health. And it's so sad in a way to hear about some of the things you said about pressure from private school owners, teachers committing suicide, and things like that. So I hope that all of us have learned how to love ourselves and take care of ourselves. Thank you so much. You did put on some words how to say thank you in different languages. Asante, Murakoze, Imela, Ngiyabonga, Esheun, Nagodi. Okay, let's ask the questions. If you have any other questions to ask Dorcas, now is the time to unmute or put your hand up. Who wants to talk? Black belts, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, can I ask a question?
Yes. Okay, Gitura, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for the presentation. So the environment I am in, it seems our principal doesn't like it when teachers are smiling and laughing. So I don't know whether, what do you do? Do you keep a very stony face when you are in the aisles? Because whenever that happens, on Monday we have meetings, he keeps on like imposing things. He thinks we are idle and we are storytelling. So he puts a lot of pressure on us. What will someone do in such an environment where it looks
Thank
like
you so
you are
much.
annoying your boss by smiling?
Thank you so much. Now, let me share that from a situation I was once in. I once had a boss, so she was really annoying, always annoying, to the extent that if she entered office and you were playing music, she would abuse you. So, but then later, I asked myself, what would I actually asked someone, I went to someone and said, what can I do? My boss is like this and this. Now, number one, in finding out, I discovered that she was going through a terrible, terrible divorce. So one of the things I want you to put in your head is that your boss is human, most probably is going through something. Someone unmute, unmute, unmute. So your boss is human, he's going through, I need silence, I need silence. Fatma, are you there? So your boss is human. He's just like you also have personal challenges. You might find he or she is going through some challenges. And number one, by virtue of the position, he is not able to even speak to anyone. And remember, as teachers, we are in a confined setting. You have students, you have your colleagues, and then if you're on top, it's even worse. So what would I tell you from a Christian perspective? Extend grace. Extend grace. And how does grace look like? Recently, one of the things I did for that boss of mine, I went and bought a gift for them, and there was light on their faces. So sometimes it might take one bold person to find that one thing that your boss loves that will take that sadness off his face. So sometimes it's also trying to understand what could they be going through before we say they want the whole environment like this and this. Ask yourself, what could he be going through? What could she be going through? Then when you understand from that angle, you will be able to, number one, get on your knees and pray for them. Number two, figure out how to support them. Sometimes it's the workload. I can actually walk to the office and say, is there any way I can support? I realize you have so much on your desk. Do you need some help? So you will be able to find that this person is opening up, and they are now opening up, they start being happier. But I'm not saying change how you behave, also joining big sad, no, but you need to be able to figure out how to change the environment for all of you. But if it fails, then go out, find the happiness outside. Or there are other friends in the evening, go and have happiness somewhere else. Go with other friends so that you're able now to have a vibrant environment so you can reboot and restart and re-energize yourself. I don't know if I've answered you.
Okay, we've got 4 hands up. We'll start with Ijoma, Victoria, Imemba. Dorcus, only 2 minutes for each person because we're running out of time. So we'll have Imemba, Ijoma, then Robina Kerubo, then Prince Patrick, then Aziz Ojoro. So Victoria, quickly, 2 minutes. Ijoma, Victoria, Imemba. Can you hear me? Unmute, Victoria, and speak. Can you hear me?
Let's go to Robina or Patrick.
Robina Kerubo, please unmute and speak.
Hi, thank you for the nice presentation. I have a question from I am in my early years of teaching, and now my school, it is more of a Muslim school, and it's like their culture, they don't really value women. Like the way they treat women isn't the same way they will treat men. So I'm a science teacher, I'm a math and biology teacher, and it happened that before I went there was a teacher who was teaching them math, and he was a male. Now when I went there, most of the students are male, and I feel like it's because I'm female now, they don't really take me that serious, and they prefer the male teacher over female. We are only 2 females in the school. Now, like, I am having really a challenge on how to even teach that class, because like when I go there, I don't even have the confidence, because they seem like female teachers are not good for sciences now. How do I handle such a situation?
Okay, can I answer that?
Okay.
Yeah, because I have worked in so many Muslim schools, and I'm a Muslim myself. It depends on how the school management, what's the vision and the goal of the school. So I have worked in Muslim primary school, Muslim secondary school, and it's very unusual for them to have this kind of mindset, but yes, it might happen. It's the school management needs to address this, the way they see men and the way they see women, if they want their children to learn. So they need to talk to you, need to report it to the school management. Have you reported this to the school management, the school administration?
No, really. It's like, you know, the management is Muslims. So even them,
why did they hire you?
The one who hired me was not a Muslim, but the management, like the owner and the manager, is a Muslim, a Somali. So like when now I talk to the principal, he just tells me like, you know, for them, females don't have value. So like, I don't know how to
That is not true. That is not true.
So, Fatma.
Yes.
I want us to conclude this session.
Yes, I know time is running out. I think your problem has to be solved by your school management. Yeah. And if you're not getting through to them, then maybe you need to look elsewhere. If that is how the Somali community are going to treat you, then you're not going to get through. unfortunately.
But also, if you're giving them value and your students
exactly,
they learn to
exactly,
value you with time. So it's an issue of time.
Exactly. So show them your best. Show them that you have the ability to do it's for it. I am in the opposite. Funny enough, what you're saying, I am working in a country that is majority Christian in the UK, in London, and I am a Muslim. Okay, and I dress like a Muslim, but when I open my mouth and I talk, they know that I know my stuff and they respect me. So like she said, like Dorcus said, if you know what you're doing and you are adding value to their school, they will respect you, no matter what religion
and
you
of course, how you respect them also.
Exactly.
You find that you're a Christian, you know, you're in a Muslim school, and you want to behave contrary to what they expect. For example, dress code. You might not dress your Christian way, but you have to find a way of balancing it up, dressing like a Muslim, maybe to fit in. So it's just behavior. It's you understanding the culture and the environment, and you adding value. But Fatma, I want us to close this session. I am proposing that we give an opportunity to people to share all questions on the platforms on Black Belt.
Okay,
on to answer all of them.
Okay, all right. So Dorcus will answer your questions on the Facebook group or on the 1 Million Teachers WhatsApp group. I think she has another appointment that she has to go to now. As you know, Uganda is 2 hours ahead. It's at night.
My room, and it's late.
Yeah, it's late in Uganda. Thank you so much. So Aziz Ojoro and Victoria, can you type it in the WhatsApp chat? Okay. Thank you so much, Dorcus, for your time. Thank you.
I have done that.
In the chat on WhatsApp.
We can chat on WhatsApp.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorcus. Okay. Let me stop the recording.
Thank you, Dorcus.
You're welcome.